Hey folks, this is Kelani. I think this patch has really given us a chance to catch up properly on any alts we want to play, but there's still one thing missing. Legendaries. Seeing as a few things changed in patch 7.3, let's have a look at what you should be doing to increase your chances to pick up one of those elusive legendary items. The first thing I want to mention is that you shouldn't really put any emphasis on the Broken Shore anymore. Since patch 7.3 you won't actually get the Legion 4 recompense bags from handing in 100 war supplies. That means there's almost zero chance of you getting a legendary while doing world quests on the Broken Shore now, unless the Broken Shore is the current emissary quest. Unless that emissary pops up, I just wouldn't waste your time or efforts. There's no reason to be on the Broken Shore anymore. With that out of the way, let's look at what you should be doing. The most important thing I would suggest you do to really up the chances of looting a legendary is to be very active on Argus when it comes to rares and treasures. You can download a few add-ons to help with this if you desire. The one I found to be most helpful is Daily Global Check and its little extra add-on, Daily Global Check Legion Rares. This add-on puts a red skull on the map for any locations of rares and also replaces it with a grey skull when you kill that rare, which will persist until the loot resets. You can only get loot from each rare once a day, so if there's a grey skull on the map, you don't have to bother checking if that rare is active. The World Quest Tracker add-on has also been trying to show which rares your guildmates have seen recently on the map, so that's a nice little addition to that add-on. For treasures you can use handy notes, but for the most part just pick up any treasures you run across. The main reason rares and treasures are so important is because there's just so many of them. You can kill so many rare mobs on Argus before you run out of loot chances, and there's treasure chests everywhere you go. Combining these two sources of legendaries is sure to stockpile that bad luck protection super quickly. I can personally confirm that legendaries can come from both rares and treasures on Argus, so have at it. The one other thing you should make sure you get done on Argus is the invasion points. Each invasion point ends with a boss which can also drop a legendary. The invasion points come up once every 2 hours and last for 6 hours. That means there's a max of 3 up on the map at any one time, but they come around 12 times a day. I doubt you'll be on to catch all 12, but doing as many as you can will really kick your legendary farming into gear. The second awesome part of farming Argus is that you'll collect a whole truckload of Veiled Argonite. This currency can be used to purchase 9-10 gear tokens which have a chance to turn into a legendary. This is a huge 1-2 combo because as you stock up bad luck protection farming the rares and treasures, you can be cheeky and use the gear tokens to target which slot you want the legendary for. I've been trying to get a ring legendary for a while, so I've been buying up rings like there's no tomorrow. All it takes is one lucky gear token and you'll have the legendary you've been searching for. And if you don't get a legendary, well, there's always a chance for you to get a gear upgrade or crazy Titan Forge. Now, it's always going to be important to make sure you have a weekly Mythic Plus cache to open, so this part is always going to stay the same. It doesn't really matter what level key you get done, as long as you actually get one done. If you're interested in the loot from the weekly cache, then try to get a higher key done as possible. The loot also has a much higher chance to Titan Forge now, so it's the best source of overpowered loot. Either way you look at it, getting something done is way better than being lonely with no chest to open come reset day. Do yourself a favour and make sure at least one key is getting run each week. When it comes to running multiple Mythic Plus dungeons, I would actually advise against it in patch 7.3 if all you're interested in is the next legendary. You can get some decent loot from Mythic Plus these days, but the higher keys take quite a while to run and overall it doesn't seem worth your time. You can work on several other sources of legendaries with far less effort or time invested. I would still recommend you knock out every emissary cache that is available to you. You can clear them out every day or save them up for 3 days and do them all at once. The important thing is for you to actually get them done. Every emissary that expires could have been a legendary, and it's always more bad luck protection you could be accumulating. Cross your fingers for Argusian reach your army of the light emissaries, as you should be doing Argus world quests for the rapid rewards anyways, so they should be free emissaries more or less. The Broken Isles and even the Broken Shore emissaries are still more than worth doing, especially if you're already at Exalted with those reputations. Not only will you get your emissary cache which has a chance for a legendary, but eventually you'll get the Paragon reputation chests too. They also have a chance for a legendary, so it's always worth keeping your reputation flowing. Now, I said we wouldn't really be paying the Broken Shore any attention, but if you're already there for whatever reason and you see a few skulls on the map, there's no harm in bashing out a few rare monsters. Even though they don't provide the same bonus loot as the Argus rares, they still have a chance to drop a legendary. Any source is a good source, right? On a geared character, you should be able to solo any rares on the Broken Shore, and you can actually still find groups in the pre-made group finder, which kind of shocks me, but hey, if it makes things go faster, I'm all for it. I wouldn't go out of your way to kill these rares, but if you have nothing else to do, which is actually pretty hard at this point, there's a few targets just waiting for you to bash their horns in. Now we're getting to the super time intensive stuff. If you don't have any more Argus rares to kill, you've got your Mythic Plus done for the week and there's no emissaries up, but you still need to scratch that itch of farming content while praying to RNGesus, there's still a few things you can do. The first is dungeons. Normal, heroic, or mythic dungeons are a decent source of legendaries, and you should be able to blast through them at this point. Each boss you loot might be the last boss you need to grab your next legendary, so it's definitely worth working through at least a few if you find yourself with spare time. If you'd rather spend your time in raids as opposed to dungeons, you can also work your way through the Raid World Tour, clearing out the Emerald Nightmare, Trial of Valor, and the Night Hold on normal and heroic. I would suggest you get as much Tomb of Sargeras done as you can, but at the end of the day, Tomb of Sargeras is still kind of hard for most people. Bosses don't tend to die very quickly unless you're in a farm group, which aren't open to everyone. Emerald Nightmare, on the other hand, gets destroyed, usually in less than 30 minutes. None of the bosses live past the 2-minute mark, and most will actually die in under 1 minute these days. After the Crucible comes out, that's only going to get faster. You can put in as much time as you want here. Every raid boss you kill is again a chance at a legendary, and there's plenty of bosses across all of the old Legion raids. Finding a World Tour group isn't all that difficult these days either, especially on the weekend or on reset day. If you'd rather do looking for raid, that's also an option, but I find for the old looking for raids especially, the queues are super long and when it eventually pops, the bosses don't exactly fall over. I prefer normal and heroic, they're much faster and much more efficient. A decent bonus that raids have over dungeons is that you'll typically end up with way more artifact power when running raids, but obviously you can only do each raid once a week. Honestly, dungeons or raids are your personal preference, but that's where I will be spending any spare time if I've already worked my way through the first few legendary sources that we talked about. And I think that's pretty much all that's worth doing. You can get legendaries from any rares on the Broken Isles and any treasures you find pretty much anywhere else, but most of it isn't worth actively farming. You can also get legendaries from PvP, but again, if you're not into PvP, that's not really an option. Spend most of your time on Argus and you'll see a few legendaries between now and the next raid for sure. I wish we'd get a better catch-up system, especially with the Legion Fall bags being removed, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what the future holds in store. If you have any questions or queries, please leave them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Or hop on over to Discord, we have a server at discord.gg/Kelani, great place to come ask questions or just hang out. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, if you want to see more make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.